Hello, YouTube. I am at the washateria, I guess is what some would call it. In my hand, I have a letter from my mother, and it's a month and a half old. My mom's birthday is a couple of days from now, and actually, I only received the letter probably about a week or so ago, and I felt a little bit of boom, 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 fear and trepidation about opening the letter, about reading the letter, because pretty much my mom has always been good to me. She's always been a good mother. I think all mothers go through their thing of middle ageness, which I am approaching now, and they go through some things where they, and I'm trying to make it a point to pay more attention to the camera because I know usually I'm just like all over the place, and the reason why is because I'm a feeler, and feelers we go based on our instincts and our intuitions and the way that we feel. And so if I'm making eye contact with you, the camera, and connecting with you, it's almost as if I'm making eye contact with you and I'm connecting with you, it's like I get outside of myself and I'm very much in tune with myself and what my pure, genuine feelings and things like that are. So, excuse me, I'm gonna practice on other videos with making eye contact with the camera. In person, I make eye contact just fine, but it's like this is my place to like really vent all my feelings, or that I chose to vent all my feelings and real concerns and loves and joys and all that good stuff. So, pretty much, it's kind of snug, but pretty much, for the past couple of years, I haven't really kept in as much contact as I could or should. One, because there was an incident on Facebook where I just kind of closed everything down for a couple of different reasons. I closed it down once, and then I opened it again because I wanted to maintain contact with family. Then I closed it down again because I was nicely told that I no longer had any family. So, and which of course is not true because you always have your mother, and no matter, for the most part, I know everybody's situation is different, but for me, I have my mom, and trying to adjust some coloring here, and it's kind of dark. And the thing about it is that, I was told that I no longer had a family, and this really kind of broke my heart. Especially going through all of the things that I had been through, being falsely accused and convicted, going into a situation where you court ordered to homelessness. So regardless of whether you're court ordered now, for me or not, for me, I always fully claim and own everything that somebody tosses at me. So I just, said I was that, and being stigmatized by that. And these are, my little brother that was the one that said that, my big little brother. And the thing about it was that. Um, I guess it must have been, I have to put myself in his shoes. It must have been very embarrassing for him. In Korean culture, even though we're African American as well, we were raised by a Korean mother. In Korean culture, a lot of emphasis is placed on the firstborn, on the oldest child. And so my mom put a lot of emphasis on me. She put a lot into me being the one to set an example. Um, she gave me a lot of lessons throughout life that she felt that if I followed and I did correctly, that I should not have a problem and that I should do very well. But she also tried to warn me without warning me of the snares of just kind of going along with, everything that's advertised is right. It's not always the way to go, even though it may not be inherently wrong. Like college and all of that. She understood coming from a country other than the U.S. that these are sometimes traps that are said to kind of inject a population. And, you know, a lot of different things about being bicultural, that come into play. Ironically, as far as I know, it wasn't my mother that disowned me or told me I no longer had a family. It was my little brother. And my sister, by her silence, co-signed it. And it hurt a lot because I think out of all of these years, it's been almost 10 years, out of all of these years, out of all of these years, that was the only thing that kept me going. The only thing that I held on to. as a part of the normalcy of my past is that my family, once I make it through all of these, I'm going to go back home, recharge my batteries, and pick up where I left off and step back out into the world to hopefully, do something great, to make my mother proud. And it really hurt me. I mean, the situation, this is what the situation was. Um, Again, having no family, no friends, wanting to regroup myself, trying to stay in contact. And Facebook was the only way that I had information as to how to contact my mom. I never seen my mom on a computer ever. So I would, through that, be able to, at least once in a blue moon, keep in contact. And doing such, my brother and my sister, they have families of their own. They created babies. Like I said, was the firstborn, and I was always told never to bring. A lot of things my mom told me, never to bring any children home because, she was not going to be a grandma, and then other reasons too, And then, she always told me never to get any tattoos, and she really looked down upon, this Afro curly thing that I got going on, and when I was growing up, it was understood. She didn't have to tell me that. I always cut my hair flat ironed. I always, not flat ironed, we didn't have flat irons by then, but I always took care of my hair. I kept it properly maintained and managed and oiled. And, at night I would put it in rollers so in the daytime it would not be curly or afro, it would be straight. And, we were brought up very Korean style. Well, I was. My mom told me that, my brother and sister, she didn't raise that way at all. Now, so with the situation that happened, again, seeking to find that, like Alex Walker said, the temple of my familiar. I would go to my brother's Facebook, my sister's Facebook, and it was just like, I needed so much support and encouragement. And I was really disappointed, with the Facebook thing at first because you have all these people adding you as a friend that, from your past, from like 20 years ago. And these people, they don't, some of these people you really meant a lot to, and you perhaps didn't really know them or take, and I hope y'all can hear me because I'm getting far away here. Perhaps you didn't really know personally or, put a lot of credence in, but then there are people that, um, that genuinely you made a difference in their life, and they wanted to know how you were, and you didn't even know them at all. You don't even recall them, but they let you know that you were the only reason that, they made it through, So Facebook, but when, and I wanted to tell people the truth because they were, a lot of them were assuming that I was living an average lifestyle and this, that, and other, but I wanted them to know, that yes, I was falsely accused and convicted of a crime. And that yes, I was court ordered to a homeless shelter, and I wanted them to see that, and I wanted people to care, and I wanted people to be aware, of their communities and, the world around them, and if they had similar stories to share. I wanted to be able to kind of discuss those things and, find solutions and alternatives and share stories and bring about light to the truth, because I found out during that journey that a lot of the things that are taken for granted as being true are just perceptions. They're not real at all, And when those perceptions are managed in a negative way, you can demonize a whole population of people without cause. And it's scary, you know. It's scary and it's so powerful it can turn you against yourself. And I have situations, like I said, where I was in court and they were like, such and such, and they didn't say that I was crazy, but the way that they said it was like, oh, there's an issue. And so when somebody repeatedly says those things, I was looking around like, they were like the fugitive, and I'm like, who are they talking about? Because I'm scared. But lo and behold, they were talking about me. And that's scary because basically, people are not educated about what those words mean. Those words are propaganda tools. They're set forth, and they don't have, any grounded, the meaning that the emotion that they set forth, because nobody really knows what it truly means, um, is not equal to what it actually is. And I know that there's a whole population of people that are, suffering through this mislabeling, falsely accused and convicted, or, through whatever situations, whether it be falsely accused and convicted by the legal system or by society in general, um, there's a whole population of people like that, you know, and they don't have a voice, they don't have a face, and they're completely discounted. And some people know or have an inkling that what they're saying is dynamic and it makes them uncomfortable because if that, lo and behold, if that is true, then that means humanity really does not exist. Okay? But, anyways, with my brother and my sister, I was looking at their web pages, looking at pictures of their children I will never have because I don't want any kids. I was raised that way, and that's been stuck in my mind forever. Not raised not to have any kids, but I understood the that really, the world is not the place for children, you know, and so, looking at the pages, seeing the kids' pictures, seeing the comments, from their friends, and things like that. I saw comments, and I never teased my brother or said anything, mean to him growing up, because again, I was horrified when my sister did that. But it's like, in an attempt for me to try to fit in, and I saw where his friends were calling him lemon head and this, that, and the other. So I thought it would be cool to take a picture, and I photoshopped a lemon head on top of his head. Actually, it looked a whole lot like him, and there was a lot of latent anger behind that, and I didn't know it because his so-called friends would tease him on that, and so I thought it would be cool and to do that, but there was no comment. It was like an angry silence. So I'm like, okay. And so, as I'm looking, I'm thinking about how much I actually love my brother, and how much I love my family, and all of these things that I'm hearing, from my mom about how, um, his girlfriend or whatever doesn't treat him well. She's already had a child with someone else, and the baby has some type of disorder, or the young man, boy now, has some type of disorder, and is rubbing off onto the child that they had together, and that child is abusing, you know, the child that they had together, and then all of these things, and then on top of that I see a post that says, on top of that I see a post where he's bought her, in the post it says, again, I haven't seen, and I hate to say these people, these are my family, you know what I'm saying. I see a post that says, he bought her a new car and all this, and he asked her if she likes the new car that he bought, and this, that, and the other, and she's just like, whatever, it's okay. And he was basically asking her if she wanted to go out, asking his living girlfriend that he has a child with, that he's taking care of a child that is not his with, if she wants to go out that night. And she's just like, no, I have other plans. And I'm like, she just bought him a car, and he has other plans. I'm like, how unappreciative can you be? And I'm thinking to myself, on familial levels as well as personal levels, I'm like, here I am, a 40-year-old woman. At that time, I wasn't really, I was like maybe 36, 37, 36. Here I am, this middle-aged woman, have absolutely no children. Every time that anybody has ever done like any type of small thing for me, I've been extremely appreciative, and I would never, and all throughout all these years, all I've gotten is abuse. You know what I'm saying? I've gotten abuse, verbally, mentally, by society, by legal systems. And here it is, this woman, who's a young woman, who, from what I see, doesn't really take a whole lot of care of herself. She's okay, you know, and she has a child with a guy who's like off in Michigan somewhere that obviously was doing drugs or smoking or something. The baby came out with some type of issue. Now, I'm gonna say this just because I'm sitting at the laundromat and I'm sitting outside and I'm sitting on the ground at a corner. Now, this van came by the first time, and he was very close, and he stopped at the end of the parking lot and looked in the rearview mirror, and he saw me. So he makes it a point to go back around the second time and just like speed, you know what I'm saying? Like speed through. And people, like I said, I think this world, there's some sadistic people in this world, because that in itself is just sadism. I mean, he sees me, he's just like, okay, I didn't scare her or make her concerned the first time. I didn't put fear in her heart, but I want her to know that I am intentionally, you know what I'm saying, harassing, bothering her, or